If your mind is undisciplined, you're not living. You're being used by fear, by comfort, by programming. I'm not here to inspire you. I'm here to rewire you. Let's begin. There is a voice inside you. It doesn't yell. It doesn't scream. It whispers. And that's exactly why it's dangerous. It shows up in quiet moments when you're tired, when you're uncertain, when pressure surrounds you, and it starts asking questions. Should I keep going? Is this really worth it? What if I fail again? At first, it sounds like self-awareness, but it's not. It's emotional infection. It's weakness, hidden behind soft words. This voice is subtle, but lethal. It convinces you that you need a break, that you should slow down, be kind to yourself, take the easy path, just for today. That's how it begins. One moment of softness becomes a habit. One delay becomes your identity. You start calling hesitation self-care. You start calling fear intuition. You start calling escape healing. That's the trap. And most people never escape it. They live their entire lives following a voice that was never theirs to begin with. A voice that was planted by society, by fear, by failure. If you want to become unstoppable, you must kill this voice. You don't reason with it. You don't argue. You don't journal about it. You terminate it completely, without emotion, without warning, because every second you spend feeling is a second you're not executing. And execution is the only language the world respects. You think the world cares how you feel. It doesn't. It respects movement. It respects results. It respects discipline under pressure. This is not about becoming heartless. This is about becoming functional. Emotion has its place, but not here, not in battle, not in war, not when the mission is survival and evolution. From now on, you don't ask, do I feel ready? You don't ask, what if I fail? You don't ask, can I handle this? You don't ask anything. You move, you act, you finish. This is mental reprogramming. This is how you delete the virus that's been running your life. Not through therapy, not through motivational quotes, not through positive vibes. Through cold execution, through militant silence, through mastering one truth. You don't feel your way into strength. You act your way into it. That voice in your head, it dies today, because if you don't kill it, it will kill every version of you that could have been unstoppable, and I'm not here to let that happen. Erase it, now without mercy. You think your past matters. You think the pain you carry makes you who you are. Let me tell you something that will offend your comfort. Your history is not your identity, it's your prison. Every time you replay what happened, every time you revisit your failures, every time you say, I've always been like this, you are re-injecting poison into your operating system. You were not born with regret. You were not born with trauma. You were not born broken. You were conditioned to hold on to it. But here's the truth. No one tells you. Your mind does not care about reality. It obeys only what you feed it. Repetition and emotion, and you've been feeding it weakness. I've been through too much. I always sabotage myself. I'm not like other people. You think that's truth? It's programming, and it's keeping you ordinary. Stop narrating your failures like they matter. Stop carrying your losses like they're sacred. They are not sacred. They are expired data. What you did last year, what they did to you, what you didn't become. None of it matters now. It's gone. And if it's not helping you attack today, you erase it. This is how warriors operate. If a memory weakens your strike, you delete it. If a thought slows your reflexes, you delete it. If a belief makes you hesitate, you cut it off like dead weight. You are not a collection of stories. You are not your mistakes. You are not your environment. You are not your scars. You are what you decide to be right now. You want to reprogram your mind, then stop letting the past be part of your code. Because every time you say, that's just who I am, you've already lost. Warriors don't carry memory. They carry mission. No one cares what happened to you. They care what you do despite it. So here is the command. Burn your identity. Burn the labels. Burn the narrative. And rise with nothing but silence in your mind. and violence in your action. Because until you neutralize your history, you are a slave to it. And slaves don't win, they remember. You either rewrite your brain or your past writes your future. Now choose. Your words are not harmless. They are commands. Each phrase you speak, whether in your mind or out loud, is either reprogramming your system for dominance or hard coding it for failure. You think it's just a habit when you say, I'll try. I'm tired. I can't focus today. I'm just not feeling it. But those are not just words. They are permissions. You are giving your brain the green light to shut down, to surrender, to rot. Every time you speak like a victim, you reinforce the virus of weakness. That virus thrives on vague language, emotional words, soft expressions. So if you want to rewire your brain, you start by shutting your mouth until every word becomes a weapon. This is what I call command language. Short, sharp, surgical, no fluff, no emotion, just operational code. You do not say, I'll see if I can. You say, it's done. You do not say, I don't feel like it today. You say nothing and move anyway. You do not say, I'm not in the mood. Because mood is irrelevant, only execution matters. From now on, eliminate all language that sounds like permission. Words like maybe, later, hopefully. I'll start tomorrow. I don't think I'm good enough. Cut them out like cancer. Replace them with I move, I finish, I don't stop. This is the way. Every time you speak, ask yourself, is this code that sharpens me or weakens me? If it doesn't sharpen, you don't say it. You don't think it. You don't let it exist, because warriors don't talk for comfort. They talk for control. They speak to command reality, to dominate the mind, to install precision under pressure. This is how you become untouchable. Your voice matches your mission. Your language reflects your system. Your words carry force, not noise. So stop trying to sound positive. Start speaking like a machine. No emotion, no softness, only power-coded syntax. This is the new rule. If it wouldn't come out of a sniper's mouth, don't let it come out of yours. You're not here to express yourself. You're here to evolve yourself. And evolution begins with what you allow yourself to say and what you no longer tolerate in your mind. Your new language is command. Your new tone is steel. Your new voice is law. Now speak accordingly. Install the non-negotiable identity. You think identity is something you discover. It's not. It's something you install with force. You don't wait to feel ready. You don't wait for proof. You don't wait for permission. You decide, you commit, you become. That's the law. Most people build identities based on emotion. They say, this is who I am because this is how I feel. Weak. Software inconsistent. Your feelings are not your identity. They are tests. If you define yourself by emotion, you've already lost the battle before it starts. You don't evolve by feeling strong. You evolve by refusing to be anything else. From this moment forward, you don't try to be disciplined. You don't try to be focused. You don't try to be relentless. You are. No discussion, no doubt, no second layer of thought. That is what I mean by non-negotiable identity. There is no version of you that gives up. There is no version of you that breaks down. There is no version of you that looks for escape. Every action, every choice, every breath reinforces the same operating system. I do not bend, I do not break, I do not stop. Others make decisions based on mood. You make decisions based on mission. Others need motivation to move. You move because you said you would. This is the shift. You're not a person anymore. You're a code, and every code has only two options: run or fail. So your new code runs without exception. When you're tired, you execute. When you're angry, you execute. When you're numb, you execute. You don't show up as the best version of yourself. You erase all versions except one. The one that finishes. The one that adapts, the one that doesn't need to feel good to move. This is not discipline anymore. It's identity. It's automatic. It's who you are at the root level. There is no negotiation left inside you. No back and forth, no second voice. Only command. So stop telling the world who you want to become. Start showing the world who you refuse not to be. Because once identity becomes non-negotiable, results become inevitable. You don't hope to win. You are the weapon that was built to. Now act like it. Rehearse violent stillness. You move too much. You speak too fast. You react too quickly. You exist in noise and call it living. But listen carefully. The most dangerous man in the room is the one who doesn't move. He doesn't flinch. He doesn't fidget. He doesn't rush to respond because he's not trying to prove anything. He already knows what he is. That's what I train. Violent stillness. Stillness that isn't weak, but coiled, loaded, deadly. Most men confuse activity with power. They chase, they talk, they explain it, they try to look impressive, but they're just leaking energy because they never learned how to hold it. Power is not in movement, power is in containment. I want you to train stillness like a killer. Not as meditation, not as relaxation, but as a strategic threat. Sit in a chair, eyes still, breath quiet, jaw relaxed. Now dash. Hold that state, not for comfort, but for control. You'll feel discomfort rising, thoughts trying to take over, your body begging to shift. That's the test. Can you hold the line when nothing inside you wants to? Because if you can't master stillness, you will never master pressure. If you need noise to function, you're not powerful, you're dependent. Stillness is not the absence of motion, it's the presence of readiness, like a blade inside its sheath. Motionless until it's time to cut. When you learn this, you stop reacting, you stop explaining, you stop responding to every attack, insult, opinion. And that's when your enemies get scared, because they can't read you, they can't move you, they can't break you. You become an unpredictable force. So now I'm giving you a new rule. Stop reacting first. Start observing. Start holding your energy like a sniper holds his breath. Steady, silent, aimed. Because when you're still, you feel everything. You see everything. You choose everything. And when you move, you do it with zero hesitation, zero emotion, zero waste. That's what makes you deadly. Not how loud you can be, but how silent you can stay. And still win. Rehearse stillness daily, violently, with intent, because in that stillness, your power becomes untouchable. Delete external dependencies. You rely on too much. You rely on people to support you. You rely on the world to validate you. You rely on emotions to push you. You rely on noise, comfort, stimulation to feel alive. That's weakness. Anything you rely on owns you. Let me repeat that. If it has the power to shift your mood, it has power over you, and a man who is controlled by anything external is not a man. He's a machine waiting to crash. You think needing support makes you human. It doesn't. It makes you fragile. You think seeking motivation makes you driven. It doesn't. It makes you addicted. You think chasing connection makes you deep. It doesn't. It makes you dependent. The more you seek outside of yourself, the more empty you remain. That is the truth. And most people are terrified to face it. They build their entire identity around external energy. Their self-worth is based on followers. Their peace depends on relationships. Their drive depends on applause. Their discipline depends on being seen. But if the applause stops, they fall. If the person leaves, they collapse. If the world doesn't notice, they quit. That is slavery. And if you want to reprogram your mind into steel, you must erase this virus with force. You must detach from everything. You thought you needed to feel good. No one is coming to save you. No one will carry you to your potential. No one is responsible for your fire, except you. So stop giving away power for temporary comfort. You don't need people to understand you. You don't need to be appreciated. You don't need to be supported. You don't need to be liked. You don't even need to be seen. What you need is isolation that sharpens. You need space where your mind is the only voice, where your decisions are final, where your discipline becomes your oxygen. In that space, you don't chase energy, you generate it. You don't beg for love, you become it. You don't explain your mission. You become so focused that explanations become irrelevant. This is how the elite are formed, not in the spotlight, not in applause, but in silence, where they delete every crutch they were trained to lean on. From now on, you don't need encouragement. You don't need comfort. You don't need reassurance. You need self-command. The world can burn. People can disappear. Everything can go dark. And you will still move. Because power doesn't come from being supported. It comes from being unaffected. Cut the strings. Delete the need. Own yourself. Or stay owned forever. Everyone feels pain. But only two kinds of people emerge from it. Victims and architects. The victim asks, why me? Why now? Why did this happen to me? The architect asks nothing. He takes the pain and builds with it. This is the difference between the ordinary and the unstoppable. Ordinary men carry pain like a burden. Unstoppable men carry pain like material. They convert every betrayal into blueprint, every heartbreak into fuel, every loss into reinforcement. That is the mindset you install now. No more wounds, only weapons. You think the pain you've been through was meant to destroy you. It wasn't. It was meant to expose the weakness inside you so you could kill it. But most people never take the kill shot. They talk about healing. They talk about processing. They talk about understanding it. I don't. I talk about using it. Every scar on your body, every scar on your soul is raw material. Turn it into discipline. Turn it into structure. Turn it into rules you live by. You were betrayed? Good. Now you know who never to trust again. Now you build walls where you once left doors open. You were humiliated? Good. Now you eliminate the weakness they saw. Now you train 10 times harder in silence. You were abandoned? Good. Now you walk alone, sharper, quieter, more lethal than ever. This is the formula. Pain is the signal. Action is the response. Structure is the result. Most people stop at the signal. They feel it and freeze. Feel it and complain, feel it, and identify with it. But warriors don't identify with pain. They mold it into form, into frame, into future. That's what structure is. Rules built from fire, boundaries born from betrayal, discipline carved out of destruction. When you structure your life with the pain you felt, nothing can touch you again. Because the parts of you that were once breakable have now become foundation. So here's the command. Don't suppress your pain. Don't speak about it endlessly. Don't try to escape it. Convert it. Reinforce with it. Rise because of it. And if they ever ask, what made you this focused, this ruthless, this built for war, tell them, I turned every piece of pain into stone. And I built a fortress around my soul. Code in cold execution. Everything you've learned up to this point means nothing if you don't execute. Not when you feel like it, not when it's convenient, not when it's easy, always. Execution is the only thing that separates the man who talks from the man who takes. You want to change your life? Stop thinking, stop preparing, stop hoping, start moving without noise, without delay, without emotion. This is the final stage of reprogramming. You don't just think like a weapon, you behave like one. From the outside, you look calm, dead calm, but inside, you've replaced your nervous system with command code. Everything you do from now on must follow one law, no more options, only orders. When the alarm rings, you don't think, you move. When the task shows up, you don't hesitate, you finish. When the world gets loud, you don't react, you focus harder, because that's what separates machines from men. Machines don't negotiate with discomfort. They execute the program, and that's what you've become. A walking program of discipline. No delay, no excuse, no internal debate. You act without mercy, you move without permission, you finish without recognition. The moment you feel yourself slipping back into thoughts like, I'm tired, it's too hard, I'll do it later, you override that code instantly. Because every time you hesitate, you invite the virus of weakness back into your system. And this system is closed. No new entries, no emotional feedback, only output. Cold, precise, relentless. That's how the elite separate from the average. Not by talent, not by luck, but by unbreakable execution in silence. From now on, every decision must pass this filter. Does this move align with the mission? Does this action sharpen the system? Will this step reinforce the identity? If the answer is yes, do it immediately. If the answer is no dash, Eliminate it without hesitation. No wasted motion, no wasted energy, no wasted time. This is not motivation. This is neural warfare. You are coding your mind to become untouchable. And that requires one thing above all: brutal consistency. Not one day, not 1 week, but until it's not something you do. It's what you are. You don't ask for discipline anymore. You don't find motivation. You've become a system of cold execution, and systems don't break. They run until everything is complete or everyone else is gone. Now stop thinking, execute, or be erased. You're either rewiring your mind or rotting inside a mental cage. Start the deletion now.